7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, it's the middle of winter, the holidays are over, and the weather is unpredictable. Isn't there anything to look forward to? You bet there is! Cash Blast from your Nebraska Lottery is back! Until April 1st, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win one of 7 weekly drawings for $5,000 or $500. And if your voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled. Hey, there's nothing like a little green to cure the winter blues. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, 4-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an advocate you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you need. Advocates you deserve. That's 877-42-LIBERTY or libertylawnebraska.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: snow, wind, and blizzard conditions likely. We'll see a high around 36. Tonight, decreasing clouds continue to wind, low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see sunny skies with a light breeze. An afternoon high around 44. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Get ready for spring by joining an evidence-based program to improve your health and well-being. These programs use proven strategies to help you make lasting changes, whether it's boosting nutrition, increasing activity, managing stress, or enhancing wellness. Invest in yourself today and feel your best this spring and beyond. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to it. This is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Special ingredient butcher shop with 3 Lincoln locations and 1 up in Omaha. They are located 84th and Havelock, 85th and Old Cheney, and 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln. as well as 168th and and 168th and Maple up in the Big O, as Jay Foreman would say. He is not here. Jay Foreman gets the day off, probably out the rest of the week as well. So you're stuck with me, Austin Oerman. Tomorrow, Eastrick will be sticking around for Old School as well. He's got some business to attend to. So since I'm flying solo here at 1040, that means I need you. I need your engagement. I need your involvement all show long. 402-464-5685. Had some great Nebraska men's basketball conversations with Eastrick throughout the course of On the Block. Now into Old School, we'll shift the conversation a little bit more nationally. I'm sure some of you are still in the process of filling out your bracket, trying to win your pool. Not going to say I'm the perfect guy to go to, but here and there, I think I know a thing or two. So if you have any questions, any matchups that you're struggling with for your NCAA tournament picks, I would love to help you through those. We can talk through those. So give me your matchups that you're having some struggles with in the first round of the NCAA tournament and beyond if you'd like. But if we just want to focus on tomorrow's first round, I think that is probably all for the best. Don't forget, tomorrow and Friday, you can join 93.7 The Ticket at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O. The first 64 people through the door tomorrow will get a ping pong ball with the name of one of the teams in the tournament on it. If your team ends up in the Final Four, you can win prizes, including Wings and Rings gift cards and more. We'll give away prizes at the top of every hour from 12 to 5 on both days. And here's the thing, y'all. No purchase necessary. If you stop by Wings and Rings, you get a raffle ticket when you sit down. You can win appetizers, beer buckets and pitchers, some coolers, Dr. Pepper prize packs, 93.7 The Ticket prize packs, and plenty more. First game tomorrow, 11:15 a.m. Well, I think we're all wearing red tomorrow as the Louisville Cardinals take on the Creighton Blue Jays to kick off the NCAA tournament. Obviously, games run all day Thursday and all day Friday. Great food, great beer, great prizes, and Lincoln's best sports talk, all at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O Streets. Not just tomorrow, but Friday as well. Anthony, on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, 402-464-5685, asks, how far is St. John's going? Man, if St. John's isn't one of the teams I had some of the biggest struggles with when filling out my bracket. The Johnnies confound me. You might have heard me mention this to Strick. I don't love their style of play. They are a physical, athletic, relentless, defensive-minded team, which is not necessarily what I enjoy watching. St. John's loves rock fights. St. John's loves defensive pressure. I prefer offense. I don't enjoy watching St. John's. It doesn't appeal to me. But gosh darn it if they aren't effective. And gosh darn it if the closest statistical and resume-based comparisons for St. John's this year aren't Rick Pitino's Louisville teams that he took to the Final Four. Pitino knows this style of team. He knows how to coach them. He knows how to maximize them. And that's what he's done with St. John's this year. Improved him last year in year one. Now in year two, has him as a 2 seed. Has him as Big East regular season and tournament champions. It's been an incredible turnaround, an incredible step back up the national pecking order for St. John's under Rick Pitino. How far they're going will really depend on a couple things. Number one is, can they shoot it enough? Can they shoot it enough? Not a good shooting team. St. John's and Michigan State both shoot 30-ish% from three. Both crash the offensive glass incredibly hard. Both play some pressure-based defense, definitely like to get out and run. St. John's is going to overmatch some teams who just aren't ready for the aggression and the mindset that Rick Pitino has instilled in his guys. Zuby Ejiofor in the middle, RJ Luis, Big East Player of the Year. Simeon Wilcher plays a role for them as well. It's a team that knows its role. It knows what it's doing, and it executes that mindset, if not always the play. Where I'm a little skeptical about St. John's, Evan Miyakawa pointed this out. St. John's, its entire schedule, hasn't played a team ranked inside the top 20 of Evan Miyakawa's personal rankings, right? Not that the Big East is bad, and St. John's hasn't played many atrocious teams, but they haven't played the cream of the crop, according to the statistical profiles. It would also worry me if St. John's runs into a team that has experienced guards that aren't scared by ball pressure, if it has guys that can get a one-on-one bucket they're hitting that day, or a team that clears defensive glass really well. St. John's makes a living on the offensive glass. Now, they miss a lot of shots, so they give themselves plenty of opportunities. But at some point, you got to be able to hit a bucket, right? I mean, St. John's isn't like St. Mary's, right? Yeah, they're both defensive-oriented, defensive-minded teams. St. Mary's plays slow. They look to execute in the half court, and that's why their offense has failed them. If St. John's is a team that gets kept out of transition, they struggle a little bit in the half court, especially because the spacing just isn't always there. So a team that matches up with them physically might be hard to find, but a team that can handle the pressure mentally can take down St. John's, and a team that has a guy or two that can go get a bucket. And then, of course, there's the ever-popular whistle factor. St. John's is physical. St. John's is all up in your business, all up in your grill. That's how they play. That's how they've always played under Rick Pitino. Pretty much wherever Pitino's gone, that's been the style. And I don't know if it was Greg McDermott or some other Big East coach that said it. Like, yeah, the way you figure out how St. John's is going to do is, how many fouls do they get away with being left uncalled? The NCAA tournament is a physical game. But you also don't want it to devolve into unwatchable slop where it's just bodies flying everywhere. If St. John's gets a loose whistle, St. John's has the potential to make it to the third weekend, the Final Four. If there's a tight whistle in some game and shots aren't falling, then it gets a little tricky for St. John's, who's not a great free throw shooting team, who doesn't have a great field goal percentage. We mentioned not a good, 3-point percentage either. And then there's this little bit of history as well. I unbookmarked the note. I know I brought it up at some point this week. It might have been on the bracket picking show I did for the Corner 3 on Monday night. Might have been just yesterday. I don't remember when exactly it got brought up. But St. John's and Michigan State are both in the same boat of teams that went from unranked in the preseason poll to a top 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. It's rare. It doesn't happen all that often. Unranked to the NCAA tournament obviously happens every year. But unranked to a top 2 seed, one of the best 8 teams in the country per the selection committee, that's rare. And those teams have a super duper sketchy history in March. I think it was on the Corner 3 bracket selection show that I brought this up because the last team that fits that profile of unranked to a top 2 seed to make even the Elite 8, I say even, to, all relative, was Kansas State in 2010. Jacob Pullen led team. Otherwise, recent examples, you think of last year, Iowa State losing in the round of 32. You think of Marquette a couple years ago getting upended by Michigan State in a 2-7 matchup. And I'm of two minds of this. Number one, sometimes we have to update our priors, right? Sometimes we miss in our preseason evaluations. People thought St. John's was going to be better. I don't think people saw St. John's rising this far this quickly. Same with Michigan State. Probable tournament team, roster with some flaws and some holes, but not, a top 2 seed good. People weren't predicting that outside of one voter in the Big Ten's informal media preseason poll that picked Sparty to win the league, which they did in the regular season. So on the one hand, you have 30 plus games of evidence that tell you these teams aren't who we thought they were at the beginning of the year. And yet in March, it doesn't come down to 31 or 32 or 33 games. It comes down to one game. And sometimes we know something before the year. And sometimes a statistical trend is too glaringly obvious to ignore. St. John's and Michigan State have flaws. They're really good teams. They are outright regular season conference champions. Michigan State gets no production from its front court. It doesn't shoot it well, and it's a team of so many guards. Depth doesn't always play up in March. Sometimes depth plays down. The benefit of depth is if a guy or two is off, you can bench him and not feel any drop-off. The downside is if everyone's playing well and you feel like you have to stagger minutes, you don't let anyone get hot. You don't let anyone find a rhythm. Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches in college basketball history, certainly of the 2000s. Going to be interesting to see if all four of his lead guards are hot. Who does he roll with? Who's the best matchup? Does that work out for him? Because sometimes when you get down to March, you want your rotation pared down to 7 or usually 8, occasionally 7 guys where you know who you're going to throw in, you know what your combinations and your rotations are. But then for the St. John's effect, it's can they get away with playing the same style? On a game-to-game basis throughout the course of the regular season, those blows add up for opponents. You know, for St. John's, if St. John's beats Omaha in the first game, they're going to be a tough prep, especially mentally, in the second round for either Kansas or Arkansas. But another team that gets a week off, 4 or 5 days off at least between games to get ready for St. John's in the Sweet 16, should they make it there, they'll have a game plan, right? You can hone in on weaknesses more often in March. Teams are going to pack the paint against St. John's and against Michigan State. They're not going to let St. John's put the shoulder down and drive. They're not going to let Michigan State, use lightning quick first steps to get to the rim. They're going to make Michigan State's post beat them. They're going to say, okay, St. John's, you want to play iso ball? You go for it. We'll take our chances with it. So St. John's in this bracket could go to the Final Four. If you tell me the Johnnies end up in the Final Four, I am not surprised in the slightest. They are talented. They are deep. They are well coached. But if you tell me St. John's, loses in the second round, that's been really common for teams that fit this profile. Same exact thing for Michigan State. You could tell me that this is a vintage Tom Izzo team that plays the way that Tom Izzo likes to coach, and that the Spartans are due for a run to the Final Four for the first time since 2019. Or you could tell me that in the second round, Marquette flips the script on Michigan State. Marquette, little bit of an underperformance. Cam Jones's numbers weren't as bad as I thought they were, but it doesn't feel nearly as impactful. It wouldn't shock me if Marquette beats Michigan State, though, in a role reversal from a couple years ago. So St. John's and Michigan State are two of the toughest teams for me to try to get a pulse on throughout the course of the entire, bracket. Nothing outside of winning a national championship would really surprise me for either of those two teams. Before we go to break, I do want to get to some of the news of the day in college basketball, and that's Will Wade being hired by North Carolina State on the eve of the NCAA tournament. Shout out to my boy Matt, who I messaged back and forth with on Twitter. He says it's kind of ironic that Will Wade was fired from LSU 3 years ago when it was 4 days before they played in the NCAA tournament, and now he says he's leaving a job the day before an NCAA tournament game. To his credit, Will Wade was open and honest with his team that he was having conversations to be the next head coach of the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Well, turns out he is accepted or is expected to accept the job as soon as McNeese State is done in the tournament. And there's a lot there, right? Will Wade is going up against his alma mater in Clemson. That's a big game for him. You want to believe that he's been locked in on game prep and game plan and doing everything he can. But how could he be when, the chance to get back into power conference coaching was right there on his door? That's not something you can necessarily sit around and wait for. And it's not something that the North Carolina State wants to sit around and wait for. Made a little bit of a later move in letting go of Kevin Keats. So North Carolina State, can't really pressure Will Wade on the eve of the NCAA tournament to leave his team without a coach. Could North Carolina State have operated more like another ACC team Miami did, right? Got it done with Jay Lucas closer to the end of the regular season. Jay Lucas coached for Duke against North Carolina. Was not there for the ACC tournament. Obviously, he won't be there for the NCAA tournament. Why didn't North Carolina State do that? It's going to be interesting to monitor Will Wade's focus and the preparation from his team as they go up in the 5-12 matchup, McNeese State against Clemson. I hate how much I love the fit. I still think ultimately Will Wade's just utter manifest destiny is to be the head coach of Memphis. And he would absolutely bring back the Memphis State uniforms on a more regular basis. There's just such a perfect fit between Will Wade and Memphis that college basketball, for the sake of the sport, needs explored. But it's a really good hire for North Carolina State. It's a guy that's won pretty much everywhere he's been. Will Wade started out at Chattanooga, where he went 40-25 in 2 years, went to VCU. He was an assistant coach on that Final Four team under Shaka Smart in 2010-11 that made the run from the first 4 play-ins all the way to the final 4. At VCU in 2015-16 and 16-17, Will Wade went 51-20, won the regular season A-10 championship in his first year in charge, made it to back-to-back NCAA tournaments before he was hired away by LSU. LSU was probably the worst stint of his career, but when you go 105-51 and that's your worst, when you make it to 3 NCAA tournaments in 5 years, would have been 4-5 had the tournament not been canceled in 2019-20, and you win a regular season basketball championship at LSU, that's darn impressive work. Then, of course, he gets fired for, a very infamous conversation talking about making a strong bleep offer to a recruit or a couple of recruits. That came out. That got him fired. Will Wade was a massive part of that FBI investigation into college athletics and the pay-for-play shoe deals behind the scenes and whatnot. So Will Wade took off the 22-23 season from coaching before resurfacing at McNeese State in the Southland Conference. That man, in 2 years, is 57-10. He is 2 for 2 in regular season championships. He is 2 for 2 in conference tournament championships. And he is 2 for 2 in qualifying for the NCAA tournament. I wanted so badly for McNeese State to beat Gonzaga in the first round of the NCAA tournament last year. It was nowhere close. Zags by 21, 86-65. I was a little hesitant. I was a little skeptical to pick McNeese State over Clemson this year after getting burned by the Cowboys last year. And now you tell me that Will Wade is distracted by the potential, the inevitability of another Power 5 coaching job. Again, I'm not going to say Will Wade's doing a bad job getting his team prepped. Clemson's dealing with an injury to one of its glue guys. But man, I'm having a really tough time picking McNeese State, even though I really wanted them to get it done against Clemson this year. Which brings us then to Darian DeVries, who was officially hired by Indiana. And now there's a conspiracy theory going around. I don't know how much I believe it. Was West Virginia intentionally left out of the NCAA tournament as a favor to that university and to Darian DeVries, right? Give him time to get to Indiana and get the roster built. Indiana, of course, also missed the NCAA tournament just barely, but Indiana has declined postseason opportunities. They said no thank you to the NIT and to the college basketball crown. These are two wildly different guys, right? Will Wade is bold. He's brash. He tells you how it is. I'm not going to say DeVries isn't honest and direct, but he's a little bit more reserved, a little bit softer spoken, more Midwest down home values compared to the coastal swaggering of a guy like Will Wade. I don't know who's going to be more successful. I like the fit at both places. I think DeVries coming back to the Midwest is going to be big. I think a no-nonsense basketball coach is going to be fantastic for Indiana, where he's not there as fan service. He's not there to massage egos. He's there to coach basketball. Darian DeVries has done a good job of maximizing the rosters that he's been the head coach of. I think Indiana made a home run hire in getting him to Bloomington. But man, I think the ACC needed Will Wade more than Indiana or the Big Ten needed Darian DeVries. That's a league that managed to get 4 bids to the NCAA tournament, a somewhat surprising inclusion of North Carolina, who, of course, absolutely dismantled San Diego State in the first 4 last night in Dayton. But man, the 3 coaches on Tobacco Road right now are John Shire, Hubert Davis, and about to be Will Wade. That is 3 sides of a triangle. Not a lot of overlap there in terms of personality, style, on and off the court. ACC basketball gets better with the hiring of Will Wade. As a Duke fan, I don't love it. I like North Carolina State being bad. It's fun to look down on the redheaded stepchild of Tobacco Road. But the ACC needs to step its game up. The ACC needs more teams in that kind of Clemson, the Louisville tier, right? Louisville, I'm curious to see if Pat Kelsey can sustain that and keep them up at the top, because I do really like Louisville's basketball history tradition, and that's a basketball school through and through, competing with Kentucky, right? It has what it takes. But the ACC needs, Pitt to be more consistent. The ACC needs Wake Forest to stay in that upper teens to lower 20s wins mark, where there are fewer bad losses, fewer quad 2 games. And I think what Will Wade does for North Carolina State is that he raises the bar for that program. He's going to demand investment. He knows what he's looking for in a roster, and he's gonna drag it out of him, right? Patino light, almost, with his style of play. They'll play fast. They'll get a lot of shots up. We'll see how it goes. But either way, absolute slam dunk home run hires, in my opinion, by both Indiana and North Carolina State. Plenty more spots to be filled on the coaching carousel, though, in college basketball, including a couple of Big Ten openings and a big one in the Big East. We'll go through the college basketball coaching carousel when we get back to Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through April 1st is $1 off all pasta, $2 off spaghetti sauce, and special discounts on hamburgers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney and Lincoln, or also at 168th and Maple Streets in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
It may not feel like it, but planting season is on its way, and now's the time to upgrade your equipment with a late model John Deere planter from Acres Equipment. Acres has an entire lineup of John Deere planters equipped with the latest technology to ensure planting accuracy throughout your field. And to get you up and going, each planter purchased from Acres includes in-field startup support from one of our Precision Ag professionals. Warmer weather is coming soon, so don't delay. Visit your local Acres for details. Offer expires April 30th, 2025.
At Lincoln Family Chiropractic, they believe everyone deserves to live a pain-free and active life. Whether it's neck pain, shoulder pain, or lower back pain, Lincoln Family Chiropractic specializes in customized care for every patient to promote faster healing, allowing you to get back to an optimal life. Lincoln Family Chiropractic's team specializes in treatments such as dry needling, cupping therapy, and traditional adjustments. Give Lincoln Family Chiropractic a call today, 402-484-5166. Visit them online at lincolnfamilychiro.com or in person, 1 block south of 70th and 8th Street in Lincoln.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. And get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an advocate you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you need. Advocates you deserve. That's 877-42-LIBERTY or libertylawnebraska.com.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option. Do you need a urologist? At Urology Partners of Nebraska, we understand the urgency of your health. That's why we offer appointments within 48 hours. Although we're new to the community, our team brings years of experience and expertise to provide you with the best care possible. From vasectomies to kidney stones, we've got you covered for all your urology health concerns. Call 402-413-2800 today and experience the difference at Urology Partners of Nebraska. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: snow, wind, and blizzard conditions likely. We'll see a high around 36. Tonight, decreasing clouds, continue wind, low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see sunny skies with a light breeze and an afternoon high around 44. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Back to old school on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Old School. I'm your host, Austin Oerman, with you for another 20 minutes or so. I'm going to throw it to National right after this because it's blizzard outside. The conditions are not great, so it'll just be me that'll wrap us up here on The Ticket for the day. But, of course, not for the week. We are at Buffalo Wings and Rings from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. tomorrow and Friday. All the action will be out at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O. Stop by. As soon as you walk in the door, you get a raffle ticket for prizes, but you should know this: if you are one of the first 64 people in the door, doors open at 10:15 tomorrow morning, you get a ping pong ball. Your team advances to, I believe it's the Final Four. Yep, you win prizes like Wings and Rings, gift cards, and more. Giving prizes away at top of every hour from noon to 5 both days. Again, completely free. You walk in, you get a raffle ticket, you pay for your food. Pretty much is what it is. You win a prize. You're not able to redeem it the same day, but we would love to see you back on Friday or again in the next week or so. Before we get back into the college hoops chatter, just saw this pop across the old Twitter timeline here from John Morosi, who's a Major League Baseball network writer, kind of respectable source, respect his opinion on a lot of stuff. John Morosi says, infielder Bryce Matthews, the 2023 first-round pick from Husker Baseball, has impressed Astros officials during spring training, especially on the defensive side. I wouldn't be surprised if he debuts in the majors this year. Now, that's interesting. How about that? Bryce Matthews' first-round pick back in 2023 has impressed them, especially on the defensive side. That, to me, has really been the question for Bryce Williams. It was at Bryce Matthews. My apologies to the first Bryce. Bryce Matthews certainly has the athletic capability to stick in the middle infield. Certainly has the arm as a former high school quarterback. Mechanics weren't always there. Footwork wasn't always there. Holding on to the ball. wasn't always easy for Bryce Matthews at Nebraska. If he's put in the work defensively, that's going to go a long way to helping Bryce Matthews make the major leagues and stick in the major leagues. That is certainly a talented player. Would love to see Bryce Matthews get a shot, hit some monster home runs for the Astros minor league system last year. Really encouraging, really promising sign to hear for Bryce Matthews, who will be play second base and help take over for Jose Altuve, who is still with the Astros, but is making the transition out to left field. Can Bryce Matthews be a shortstop? Potentially. The Astros have been through a bit of a rotating door there. Jeremy Pena was a guy that played well in their World Series run, got some postseason honors. Definitely didn't back it up last year. So there's certainly opportunity there for Bryce Matthews. And if that doesn't fail, can he be part of a platoon out in center field with former Husker Jake Myers as well? All sorts of stuff on the table for him, but that is fantastic news to hear for Bryce Matthews. Would love to see him make his major league debut in 2025. All right, back to college basketball. Number of high-profile jobs still open, right? We had Indiana and North Carolina State filled. Just got done talking about Darian DeVries and Will Wade being hired there. But there's a handful of jobs that I think are going to be fascinating to watch. One I'll just get out of the way quickly. Iona looks like they're going to hire an NBA sitting assistant to come back and be the coach there. They fired Tobin Anderson after 2 years. They were 8 minutes away from qualifying for the NCAA tournament by winning the conference tournament championship. 12-5 in their last 17 games. Of course, Tobin Anderson was one of the architects of Fairleigh Dickinson's 16-1 upset of Purdue just a couple short years ago. So that was a bit of a confusing, surprising move. They better be right, because you don't let a respected voice, a classy guy like Tobin Anderson go and then get the next hire wrong. So that'll be interesting. But in the power conferences, you got Villanova, Minnesota, Iowa, and Virginia as jobs that are still open and available. Where would I be looking to go? If I'm a coach and I have my pick of any of those 4 jobs, based off the vibes, I'm probably going to Virginia. That's a gettable conference. Virginia has some very recent upper-level success. Now, would fans expect you to become Tony Bennett 2.0? You might have to fight that expectation a little bit, but Virginia certainly has some basketball history and tradition. It plays in a gettable open conference, should have resources to build back up pretty quickly. I'd be very intrigued by the Virginia job. Villanova as well. Not exactly a basketball, powerhouse. Did win that title in 85 with Raleigh Massimino. And of course, the Jay Wright comparisons are always going to be there. Nova did not get it right in picking former Jay Wright, right-hand man, Kyle Neptune from Fordham to take over. Villanova was incredibly mid, very average. That's what the Wildcats were. Missed the NCAA tournament all 3 seasons that Kyle Neptune ended up in charge of the Wildcats program. It's in Philly. It's in the Big East. No football program, Division I football program to worry about taking care of in the same way. Basketball is absolutely the focus at that university. Villanova was in that conversation for new blood. Not blue blood, don't get me wrong, but new blood. With how Jay Wright made Villanova cool, how Jay Wright made Villanova a winner. They had their fair share of first-round flameouts when Jay Wright first took over and into the late 2010s or 2000s and early 2010s. But Villanova was a very consistent, 25, 26, even 30-game winner there for a while. And I think just based off the vibes, I like Nova, right? Of all the teams that kind of popped up and got good, I wasn't mad at Villanova in the slightest. Doesn't help or doesn't hurt their case that they beat North Carolina in the title game. That was pretty freaking cool. Loved watching that. That was neat. But I don't mind Villanova. I think that'd be a really good job to take in a tough Big East conference. But for a conference in the Big East that most of that rev share money is going to be going to basketball, I think that's a great opportunity. Then you get down to Iowa and Minnesota. Sounds like Minnesota is narrowing its search, honing it in on Nico Medved, who's a Minnesota alum, Minnesota guy through and through, currently the head coach at Colorado State. Of course, the Rams are the favorite right now in the 5-12 matchup over 5th-seeded Memphis in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Not a bad job at Minnesota, not a great job. NIL needs to improve, certainly needs to tick up. Ben Johnson arguably overachieved each of the last 3 years, given what he had to work with in NIL and on the roster. but the Gophers still let him go. They must think it's Nico Medved's time. I just think Iowa is in just such a fascinating kind of limbo state as a program right now. Above average program, good program, relatively consistent postseason contender. Made the NCAA tournament, I believe, 7 to 15 years under Fran McCaffrey, the NIT a handful of those times as well, but never made it further than a 1-1 record in the NCAA tournament. Never saw a Sweet 16. Even with the Murray twins, even with Luka Garza, Peter Jock, Tyler Cook, Jordan Bohannon, right? We know the names we love to hate here in Huskerville. Iowa seems like it should be a pretty decent job, right? You get some stability there. They're not a program that just lets coaches go willy-nilly. You get some runway. What are the resources like? I just don't know. I did see this from Scott Docterman, who did used to write about Iowa for The Athletic. He's more a national writer, national college football reporter for them now. He compared it to West Virginia, who we'll get to here in a second as well. He says, let's be analytical. History, West Virginia, 31 NCAAs, 2 Final Fours. Iowa, 29 NCAAs and 3 Final Fours. Been a while for all those schools in getting to the Final Four, but okay, numbers are a wash. They've both been ranked in the final AP poll in the neighborhood of 20 times, 19 for the Mountaineers, 21 for the Hawkeyes. In terms of facilities, West Virginia's arena is 15 years older than Carver Hawkeye, and Iowa has a renovation planned. And in terms of men's basketball revenue, West Virginia raked in $13.28 million, Iowa $13.86 million. Scott does give the NIL advantage to West Virginia. And then he says this in a reply. The numbers are the numbers. Iowa ranked 15th in men's basketball coaching salaries among the Big Ten 16 public schools, ahead of only Minnesota. NIL was abysmal. Ticket sales, whiff of gangrene. 2 out of every 3 seats were empty. This hire is a defining moment for the next decade. And that I believe. And that's not off to a good start. Iowa's top target was Darian DeVries. I am convinced of that fact. That's a guy who was born in Iowa, who played his college ball at Northern Iowa, who was an assistant at Creighton just across the river for a long time, who then coached at Drake in the state of Iowa, and then went to West Virginia when Iowa's job wasn't open, and now says, nope, no thank you, in-state school. Not going to do it. Going to Indiana instead. That's got to sting. Now, am I mad that it stings for Iowa? No, not in the slightest. I think Darian DeVries is a fantastic basketball coach. I understand why Iowa wanted him. I understand how Indiana got him, offering him $6 million per year, which again is a far cry from ranking 15th out of 16th in terms of public schools in the Big Ten and head coach salary. Is Iowa interested in Ben McCollum, the current head coach at Drake, who succeeded Darian DeVries? Is Iowa in the spot where they can take a flyer on basketball Lance Leipold in Ben McCollum? Is that what Beth Getz wants? This is the first major hire of her Iowa tenure. She's relatively new there, having just taken over for Gary Barta not too long ago. She was part of the team that put together the plan to move on from Brian Ferentz as Iowa's offensive coordinator, but she's kept Kirk around. She made the decision to fire Fran McCaffrey. I tend to agree with Scott. This is a big moment for this Iowa program in determining who it needs to hire. We'll wrap up this segment with that. We'll get you some names for the other coaching searches as well when we get back to Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm Chief Dave Engler. When a fire truck hits a pothole with 12 tons of fast-moving equipment and crew, it's a problem. On your ballot in April is a measure to continue Lincoln's quarter-cent sales tax for street improvements. A vote against eliminates the street funding. A vote for will not raise your taxes and keeps the funding in place. And better roads means faster response times. Learn more at LincolnOnTheMove.com.
We use our Lincoln streets every day, and so do first responders. But visitors and out-of-town commuters also do. A 1/4-cent sales tax for streets passed by voters in 2019 makes those commuters pay about $6 million a year to improve streets. On your ballot in April is a measure to continue it. A vote against means no more funds from commuters. A vote for will not raise your taxes, and commuters still pay. Learn more at LincolnOnTheMove.com. Paid for by the City of Lincoln.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an advocate you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you need. Advocates you deserve. That's 877-42-LIBERTY or libertylawnebraska.com.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: snow, wind, and blizzard conditions likely. We'll see a high around 36. Tonight, decreasing clouds continue to wind, a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see sunny skies with a light breeze and an afternoon high around 44. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. And get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is bringing back Bowl for Kids' Sake. Create a team, raise donations, and join the bowling celebration at Sun Valley Lanes and Games on May 2nd. Every contribution helps to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships for Lincoln's young people. Learn more and register today at bbbsmidlands.org under the Events tab. Big Brothers Big Sisters, igniting the power and promise of Lincoln's youth for over 50 years.
Hey, what are you talking about over there? Huh? I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, four-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
Back to old school on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just a couple minutes left of this show here on Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Don't forget, they do have a Fired Up Thursday tomorrow. It's their, I believe it is their, either their Old Cheney or their Yankee Hill location. But I know their Fired Up Friday location is 84th and Havelock. Definitely make sure you peep the menu for that online. Get yourself out to 84th and Havelock, starting at 11 for Fired Up Friday lunch, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Again, 3 Lincoln locations and 1 up in Omaha. Couple other interesting names to get to here, right? I mentioned the Virginia job. Sounds like that one is trending in the direction of Ryan Odom, a name that you might be familiar with, and certainly a name that Virginia fans are familiar with. Ryan Odom was the head coach of UMBC when the Retrievers knocked off the number 1 seeded Cavaliers, becoming the first 16 seed to ever take down a number 1 seed. Ryan Odom was the architect of that team. Went from UMBC to VCU, where he coaches the Rams into the NCAA tournament. And now there's a lot of steam behind Ryan Odom becoming the next head coach of the program he once tore down. Of course, Virginia did bounce back the next year with a absolute worst to first championship run for them. And then the other names for the job at Villanova that intrigued me. Heard some rumblings of Chris Collins out to Villanova. I would really like that for them. Chris Collins is a good coach. It is easier to recruit to Villanova than it is to Northwestern. Big East is good. Probably, certainly not Big Ten levels of deep night in, night out. So Chris Collins, who has a lot of experience at these smaller, private, academic-minded institutions, right? Chris Collins played at and coached at Duke for a long time before taking the Northwestern job. I think that Villanova would be a step up for him. I do. He's done some really great work with Northwestern. A lot of things I think Nebraska could aspire to in program building there, despite wildly disparate institutions, of course. But I do like the idea of Chris Collins at Nova. I could also see some smoke behind the name Porter Moser. Think about that. I mean, he did get Oklahoma into the tournament as a 9 seed. If Brent Venables survived, there's no reason Porter Moser shouldn't. But I think I would rather be the head coach of Villanova than I would Oklahoma. Basketball school investment there. Sure, maybe if you're the basketball coach at Oklahoma football school, you just got to be successful enough to stick around. But Porter Moser hasn't exactly made a splash at Oklahoma. If Villanova's willing to, take a chance on him now, again, I think that fits. I mean, think about Porter Moser's background. He was the head coach that led Loyola Chicago to its Final Four run back in the day. I think Porter Moser's a really good coach. It's a little bit of a weird fit for him at Oklahoma, at least from the outside looking in. Is there a mystery candidate maybe for Villanova? I don't know. But I do think Iowa absolutely has to get it right. There's a lot riding on the line for that program. Virginia, I think, has some time to settle on the right guy. I think Ryan Odom would be good, but I think Virginia has another chance to get it right if this one doesn't work out for them. And then, Villanova. You got to get that program up and going again. That's so good for the Big East when Villanova's good. I absolutely believe that. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for your engagement here throughout the course of the show. That'll do it for me here today. That'll do it for us here at the station today. We're going to shut down, keep our student athletes and community shows safe and off the roads. We're going to throw it to national after this. Don't forget, we're at Buffalo Wings and Rings tomorrow and Friday. Broadcast from 11 to 6 will take place from Buffalo Wings and Rings on 68th and O. Stop by, get your raffle ticket, win prizes, be first in line when the doors open at 10:15 tomorrow morning. Grab yourself a ping pong ball. Has a chance for some great prizes if your ping pong ball has a team on it that advances to the Final Four. For the crew here at The Ticket, I'm Austin. Thanks a ton for listening. We cannot wait to bring you the NCAA tournament here on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. See you in the morning for early break, and then later in the morning at Wings and Rings.
At Lincoln Family Chiropractic, they believe everyone deserves